नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवति उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी. So today we'll cover Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, conclusion, perfection of renunciation, text number 74 onwards. So yesterday we did up till text 73, and actually Bhagavad Gita ends there. Krishna and Arjun conversation ends there. Now next 5 verses were spoken by Sanjaya. So now it's Sanjaya's realizations, text 74. Sanjay Uvacha Itiham Vasudevasya Parthasya cha Mahatmanah Samvadam imam shroshram adbhutam roma harshanam. Sanjay said, thus have I heard the conversation of two great souls, Krishna and Arjuna. And so wonderful is that message that my hair is standing on end. In the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, Dhritarashtra inquired from his secretary Sanjaya what happened on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. The entire study was related to the heart of Sanjaya by the grace of his spiritual master, Vyasadeva. He thus explained the theme of the battlefield. The conversation was wonderful because such an important conversation between two great souls had never taken place before and would not take place again. It was wonderful because the Supreme Personality of Godhead was speaking about himself and his energies to the living entity, Arjuna, a great devotee of the Lord. If we follow in the footsteps of Arjuna to understand Krishna, then our lives will be happy and successful. Sanjaya realized this, and as he began to understand it, he related the conversation to Dhritarashtra. Now it is concluded that wherever there is Krishna and Arjuna, there is victory. So Sanjay is getting ecstatic feeling listening. He listened to this conversation when it happened, and now he is repeating the same thing, the whole thing to Dhritarashtra. This happened on the 10th day of the war. And even just thinking about that, the conversation, his hair are standing on end. And he is saying it's by mercy of my spiritual master I could hear it. Not just he could hear it, he could retain everything as it is. He could have just spoken directly to Dhritarashtra about the battlefield incidents, war, how it happened. But he wanted to give mercy of this message of Krishna to Dhritarashtra. So first he spoke about Bhagavad Gita, that this is what happened in the beginning. And then now he will start talking about the war for the first 9 days, what happened. And then 10th day on, he will give the live commentary. So he spoke this whole message to Dhritarashtra just to help him spiritually. That is actually the mercy of devotees, compassionate heart of devotees. He didn't discriminate that, oh, Dhritarashtra is such a fool, that he played politics with his nephews, and he wanted to take over the kingdom in name of the Duryodhan, and so he doesn't deserve this message. This message is so pure, and fool and impure person like Dhritarashtra, he's blind, and look at his karma, such a bad karma he has done, so he should not be given this message. Sanjaya didn't think like that. We think like that, actually. We become judgmental. And in fact, we become mental when we become judgmental. So another thing that we should learn from Sanjay, that he didn't discriminate. He just gave the whole message to Dhritarashtra. And the idea was for his spiritual upliftment. And in Bhagavatam, we have studied how Vidurji, when he came back after the battle was over, and he saw Dhritarashtra and Gandhari living in Hastinapur under the protection of Yudhishthira Maharaj, how heavily Vidur spoke, and that made Dhritarashtra leave home very next day, and Dhritarashtra went to the forest and did his tapasya and left his body. So Vidurji also acted as a very compassionate soul towards Dhritarashtra. So Dhritarashtra is getting so much of mercy, despite his doing all the nefarious activities, political activities, and that too against the pure devotees of the Lord. Arjuna, Yudhishthira Maharaj. So this also means that this message is for everybody, no matter how sinful a person is, no matter how great a person is. This message is for everybody. Text 75. Vyas prasadat chutvane tad guyam aham param yogam yogeshwarat Krishna sakshat kathayata swayam. By the mercy of Vyas, I have heard these most confidential talks directly from the master of all mysticism, Krishna, who was speaking personally to Arjuna. Vyas was the spiritual master of Sanjay, and Sanjay admits that it was by Vyas's mercy that he could understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Vyasadeva, I don't know, besides giving the divine eyes to Sanjay, what else he did with Sanjay? Did he give him some instructions or not? I don't know. I haven't studied Mahabharata. But here Sanjay is saying Vyasadeva is my spiritual master. And Prabhupada says, so this means that one has to understand Krishna not directly, but through the medium of the spiritual master. So without the mercy of spiritual master, we cannot understand Krishna or devotion service or engage in devotion service. The spiritual master is a transparent medium, although it is true that the experience is still direct. That is a mystery of disciplic succession. So transparent medium means spiritual master conveys the teachings or instructions of the Lord as it is to the disciple. He brings the mercy of the Lord and he gives it to the disciple. And he takes the services of the disciple. He takes the gratitude of disciple and he transfers it to the Supreme Lord. So he becomes a via media, a transparent via media, without adding or subtracting anything from either side. He doesn't do that. It just becomes a connection between the two parties. And although the experience is still direct, so experience of a devotee with Krishna is still direct. And that is a mystery of disciplic succession, Prabhupada says. When the spiritual master is bona fide, then one can hear Bhagavad Gita directly, as Arjuna heard it. There are many mystics and yogis all over the world, but Krishna is a master of all yoga systems. Krishna's instructions is explicitly stated in Bhagavad Gita, surrender unto Krishna. One who does so is the topmost yogi. This is confirmed in the last verse of 6th chapter, Yoginam api sarvesham. So one who surrenders unto Krishna, he is a topmost yogi. Yogi means one who is linking his consciousness with the Supreme. So the devotee is a topmost yogi. Narad is a direct disciple of Krishna and the spiritual master of Vyasa. Therefore, Vyasa is as bona fide as Arjuna because he comes in the disciplic succession. And Sanjay is a direct disciple of Vyasadeva. Therefore, by the grace of Vyasa, Sanjay's senses were purified and he could see and hear Krishna directly. So although Sanjay was in the battlefield, but he wasn't standing right next to Arjuna. He was little away from Krishna and Arjuna. Because when Arjuna asked Krishna, take my chariot in the middle of the two armies, means both the armies were a little bit back, and Krishna and Arjuna were in the middle. Still, Sanjay, sitting on his chariot, he could hear everything. Not just hear, understand and remember everything. And that was by the mercy of Vyasadeva. One who directly hears Krishna can understand this confidential knowledge. If one does not come to the disciplic succession, he cannot hear Krishna. Therefore, his knowledge is always imperfect, at least as far as understanding Bhagavad Gita is concerned. So it's very important. Prabhupada again and again puts a stress on disciplic succession, bona fide disciplic succession. In Bhagavad Gita, all the yoga systems, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga are explained. Krishna is a master of all such mysticism. It is to be understood, however, that as Arjuna was fortunate enough to understand Krishna directly, so by the grace of Vyasa, Sanjay was also able to hear Krishna directly. Actually, there is no difference between hearing directly from Krishna and hearing directly from Krishna via a bona fide spiritual master like Vyasadeva. The spiritual master is a representative of Vyasadeva also. Therefore, according to the Vedic system, on the birthday of the spiritual master, the disciples conduct a ceremony called Vyasa Puja. So the spiritual masters are representatives of Vyasadeva. And just like Vyasadeva, because of mercy of Vyasadeva, Sanjay could hear everything directly. Not just Sanjay heard it, Vyasadeva was sitting in his ashram in Badrikashram at that time. And he heard it directly, and he wrote it. Well, he didn't write it down, so Ganesh wrote it down. So he remembered everything, and then later on Ganesh wrote down everything. So important this message is. Text 76. Rajan Sansmritya Samvadam Imamadbhutam Keshvarjuneo Punyam Rishyami cha Muhurmuhu. O king, as I repeatedly recall this wondrous and holy dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, I take pleasure, being thrilled at every moment. The understanding of Bhagavad Gita is so transcendental that anyone who becomes conversant with the topics of Arjuna and Krishna becomes righteous, and he cannot forget such talks. This is the transcendental position of spiritual life. In other words, one who hears the Gita from the right source, directly from Krishna, attains full Krishna consciousness. The result of Krishna consciousness is that one becomes increasingly enlightened, and he enjoys life with a thrill, not only for some time, but at every moment. So this is Sanjay's realizations. As I repeatedly recall this wondrous and holy dialogue, I take pleasure being thrilled at every moment. So this is a realization. Our realization is as soon as we hear this dialogue, we go to sleep. So at least it makes us peaceful. So that is good. But Sanjay was getting thrilled. He was in ecstasy, recalling this wonderful dialogue. Text 77. Tacha sanspritya rupamati adbhutam hare Vishwamyo me mahan rajan harishyami cha punah punah. O king, as I remember the wonderful form of Lord Krishna, I am struck with wonder more and more, and I rejoice again and again. It appears that Sanjay also, by the grace of Vyasa, could see the universal form Krishna exhibited to Arjuna. It's of course said that Lord Krishna had never exhibited such a form before. It was exhibited to Arjuna only, yet some great devotees could also see the universal form of Krishna when it was shown to Arjuna, and Vyasa was one of them. He is one of the great devotees of the Lord, and he is considered to be a powerful incarnation of Krishna. So Vyasadeva is considered as, some say, Shakti Avatar, with the Shakti of giving the scriptures. So he is also considered literary incarnation of Krishna. Vyasadeva disclosed this to his disciple Sanjaya, who remembered that wonderful form of Krishna exhibited to Arjuna and enjoyed it repeatedly. Although Arjuna was scared seeing that form, the universal form, but Sanjaya is thinking of that form, and he is in total ecstasy, bliss. Now comes the very last verse of Bhagavad Gita, and this is Sanjaya's realizations, and indirectly Sanjaya is telling Dhritarashtra that there is no way your sons can win this war. Yatra Yogeshwaraha Krishno, Yatra Partho Dhanavtara, Tatra Shrir Vidyur Bhutir, Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. Wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, and wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, there will also certainly be opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. That is my opinion. The Bhagavad Gita began with an inquiry of Dhritarashtra's. He was hopeful of the victory of his sons, assisted by great warriors like Bhishma, Drona, and Karna. He was hopeful that the victory would be on his side, but after describing the scene on the battlefield, Sanjaya told the king, "You're thinking of victory? But my opinion is that where Krishna and Arjuna are present, there will be all good fortune." He directly confirmed that Dhritarashtra could not expect victory for his side. Victory was certain for the side of Arjuna because Krishna was there. Krishna's acceptance of the post of charioteer for Arjuna was an exhibition of another opulence. Krishna is full of all opulences, and renunciation is one of them. There are many instances of such renunciation, for Krishna is also the master of renunciation. So 6 opulences of all the 6, renunciation is considered one of the topmost actually. Why? Because it's very difficult for anybody to have everything and still be renounced, still not being attached to it. But Krishna is one, only such person. He has all the opulences, strength, fame, money, knowledge, beauty. And despite having all this, and in full quantity, it's not like a little bit more than anybody else. No, in full quantity. These opulences are in Krishna, but he still has 6th opulence of renunciation. He's not attached. Only thing is that only person he's attached to is his devotees. Is the love for his devotees. That's all he wants to do. So Krishna became the charioteer of his devotee, Arjuna. The fight was actually between Duryodhana and Yudhishthira. Arjuna was fighting on behalf of his elder brother, Yudhishthira. Because Krishna and Arjuna were on the side of Yudhishthira, Yudhishthira's victory was certain. The battle was to decide who would rule the world, and Sanjaya predicted that the power would be transferred to Yudhishthira. It's also predicted here that Yudhishthira, after gaining victory in this battle, would flourish more and more, because not only was he righteous and pious, but he was also a strict moralist. He never spoke a lie during his life. And not only that, he didn't even think of committing any sin. Forget about committing any sin. He never even thought of committing. So and he was a devotee of Krishna. Very righteous person. That is why he was chosen by Krishna to be the king, to be the ruler of the whole world. So that war of that game of dice, that was all orchestrated by Krishna. Yudhishthira Maharaj, he was a very, very righteous and pious person and devoted person. There are many less intelligent persons who take Bhagavad Gita to be a discussion of topics between two friends on a battlefield. But such a book cannot be scripture. That's what they think. Some may protest that Krishna incited Arjuna to fight, which is immoral. But the reality of the situation is clearly stated. Bhagavad Gita is a supreme instruction in morality. This is what Sanjay is saying. Dhruva nitir matir mama. Nitir. This is the conversation of niti. Wherever these two are, Krishna and Arjuna, there will be morality. The supreme instruction of morality is stated in the 9th chapter, in the 34th verse. Man mana bhav madbhakta. One must become a devotee of Krishna. And the essence of all religion is to surrender unto Krishna. Sarva dharman parityaja. The instructions of Bhagavad Gita constitute the supreme process of religion and morality. All other processes may be purifying and may lead to this process. But the last instruction of the Gita is the last word. In all morality and religion, surrender unto Krishna. This is the verdict of the 18th chapter. So, regarding this morality, many people have different idea about morality. And once somebody told Prabhupada, oh, Krishna was married to 18,000 queens in, 16,108 queens in Dwarka, and he was doing Ras Leela with the gopis who were wives of other gopas. How is morality? This is immoral. And Prabhupada asked him, how many wives do you have? And the person, he got a little taken back. Well, what do you mean, Swamiji? How many wives I have? Obviously, I have one wife. The Prabhupada said, you are immoral. Why? Because all the queens of Dwarka and all the gopis, they all are energies of Krishna. Everything that we see, this is what Krishna has explained in Bhagavad Gita. Everything comes from him. So everything is his energy. Everything is for his pleasure. He serves his devotees out of love. That's about it. He's not obliged. Obligation is on us, the energy, to serve Krishna. And when we say, this is my wife, this is my husband, we are becoming immoral because we are putting a claim on that person or that energy. In fact, we should say, this is Krishna's servant under my care so that I can engage her more in Krishna's service. This is my responsibility, not this is my piece of enjoyment or exploitation. That is immoral. What Krishna does is never immoral. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavad pranitam. Whatever Krishna does or says, that is dharma. That is the ground of morality, not what we say and do. From Bhagavad Gita, we can understand that to realize oneself by philosophical speculation and by meditation is one process, but to fully surrender unto Krishna is the highest perfection. This is the essence of the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. The path of regulative principles according to the orders of social life and according to the different courses of religion may be a confidential path of knowledge. But although the rituals of religion are confidential, meditation and cultivation of knowledge are still more confidential. And surrender unto Krishna in devotional service and full Krishna consciousness is the most confidential instruction. That is the essence of 18th chapter. So, essence is Manmana bhavan bhakto and sarva dharman parityaja. Just surrender. Another feature of Bhagavad Gita is that the actual truth is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. The absolute truth is realized in three features: impersonal Brahman, localized Paramatma, and ultimately the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Perfect knowledge of the absolute truth means perfect knowledge of Krishna. If one understands Krishna, then all the departments of knowledge are part and parcel of that understanding. Krishna is transcendental, for he is always situated in his eternal internal potency. The living entities are manifested of his energy and are divided into two classes: eternally conditioned and eternally liberated. Such living entities are innumerable, and they are considered fundamental parts of Krishna. Material energy is manifested into 24 divisions. The creation is affected by eternal time, and it is created and dissolved by external energy. This manifestation of the cosmic world repeatedly becomes visible and invisible. So now Prabhupada talks about three aspects of Bhagwan, and then its external and internal potency, and the living entities, which are Tatastha Shakti. So Prabhupada in summary form, he's giving everything. He's giving the essence of the whole knowledge. In Bhagavad Gita, 5 principal subject matters have been discussed. The 5 subject matters of Bhagavad Gita, everybody should know. First, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Ishvara. Then material energy, nature. Living entities, eternal time, and karma. So, Bhagwan, Prakriti, Jiva, Kal, Karma. All is dependent on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. All conceptions of the Absolute Truth, impersonal Brahman, localized Paramatma, and any other transcendental conception exist within the category of understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although superficially the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the living entity, material nature, and time appear to be different, nothing is different from the Supreme. But the Supreme is always different from everything. Supreme is always different from everything means Krishna is not time. Krishna is not material energy. Krishna is not living entity. They're all his part and parcels. They're all his energies. But energetic Krishna, the Shyamsundar Krishna is separate from all this. So it's not like we start claiming, we are all part and parcel of Krishna, so I am Krishna. No, it cannot be Krishna. Lord Chaitanya's philosophy is that of inconceivable oneness and difference. This system of philosophy constitutes perfect knowledge of the absolute truth. The living entity in its original position is pure spirit. He is just like an atomic particle of the Supreme Spirit. Thus, Lord Krishna may be compared to the sun and the living entities to sunshine. Because the living entities are the marginal energy of Krishna, they have a tendency to be in contact either with the material energy or with the spiritual energy. In other words, the living entity is situated between the two energies of the Lord, and because he belongs to the superior energy of the Lord, he has a particle of independence. By proper use of that independence, he comes under the direct order of Krishna. Thus, he attains his normal condition in the pleasure-giving potency. So the independence is there because we are part and parcel of Krishna. Krishna is supremely independent. We are minutely independent, but we just have to understand our independence and use it properly. So the idea is, by our will, by our intelligence, we should surrender our independence at the lotus feet of Krishna and become fully dependent upon him. Actually, that is the right independence. Then we are becoming independent or free of the clutches of Maya. And we are getting situated in a constitutional position, in a natural position, And this is what Prabhupada says. Thus he attains his normal position in the pleasure-giving potency. And who's the pleasure-giving potency? That is Srimati Radharani. So bhakti is a process, and bhakti is a goal. Bhakti is everything. That's what pleases Krishna, and that is Srimati Radharani's personification of that. So Prabhupada has given us wonderful commentary on Bhagavad Gita and wonderful way instructions to engage ourselves in this service of Krishna, so that we can become a servant of Srimati Radharani, to serve Krishna and give both of them pleasure, whatever minute and whatever quantity of pleasure we can give. This is our goal of life. Hare Krishna. So by Prabhupada's mercy, Krishna's blessings, today we completed the study of Bhagavad Gita. Any questions or comments?
Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Shri.
हरे कृष्णा. सब लोग बोलो. आके बिहारी लाल की जय.
Jai.
आके बिहारी लाल की
जय.
Prabhuji, one question on like the weekend classes which we have. I am still confused by the books which like the Bhagavad Gita we follow on the weekdays, but on the weekends what were we following? Is it the same Bhagavad Gita books from Prabhupada or what?
No, weekend we were doing Bhagavad Gita, weekdays we were doing Srimad Bhagavatam.
Srimad Bhagavatam, all right.
So now we will continue with Bhagavatam all 7 days.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhupada.
It's a very big. We are on 3rd canto, 9th chapter, and the total 12 cantos.
Yeah.
There's lots of knowledge there.
And like Radha Prabhuji told yesterday, right, that as we finish this Srimad Bhagavad Gita, we can just continue with those Bhagavatam on weekends also.
Yep. Hare Krishna.
I don't know whether it is a relevant question or not, but is it possible to have one class on Ramcharitmanas?
I'm not expert in Ramcharitmanas. And Prabhupada didn't give his commentaries on Ramayana. So I just have heard Ramayana and Ramcharitmanas here and there. So I'm not an expert. That's the problem.
No problem, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, Mata. I'm not expert on Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam either. That doesn't mean I'm here. But at least these books are studying. Prabhupada has given his commentaries on this.
That is the biggest joke of the day, Prabhuji.
What joke of the day?
If you'll tell like that, you are not an expert of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, who will believe it?
Everybody.
Acha.
नहीं Prabhuji.
Or your name, Baba. I'm not expert. I'm just trying to study myself. So, any other questions or comments? Or should we stop here?
Prabhuji, just on Vandana Mata's question on Ramcharitmanas, I'm not sure, but my father is a big time, even, I mean, in Calcutta also, sometimes when he travels, most of the time he's in Ayodhya, but because we have a house there in Kolkata, so whenever he travels, near my house, there is a big Shiva temple. It's called, the area is called Bhukailash Rajbari. So it's by some previous king, the entire area was the palace was made. And fortunately, I would say I was lucky that we had that house near that big temples. Actually, it's called the Asia's one of the biggest Lord Shiva temple. And on that platform of Lord Shiva's temple, this is a pride for me. Last 12 years, he is conducting Sundarkand every Sunday. Last
Wow.
12 years. And
Wow.
I think month of December, they do a annual ritual. Like every year they complete Varsik Utsav. So he's there itself. But in terms of, I think Ramcharitmanas Vandana Mataji, he can really give a good lecture on that.
We would like
So
to arrange his lecture if we can.
I will arrange it, but he was not very proficient in technology, so I have to be with him, and then I'll arrange the Zoom call, and then we can hear it.
Thank you so
see,
much.
however it can be done, why not?
Surely, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Vinay Prabhuji.
No problem.
But Vinay Prabhuji is going to be like for 24 hours, like for Ramcharitmanas. How, matlab?
Not the reading. It will be the katha.
Okay.
We'll do one thing. We'll take one context. Either the Bal Kand. There are, I think, 7 kands are there. One kand will pick it up, and then he'll talk about it for an hour, and then that's it. Whichever you feel like. Sundarkand also. Sundarkand is one of the. Most of the time when we talk about Ramcharitmanas, we read it Sundarkand. It's very auspicious. So we can
So
take
let's
it at
start
that
from the
one.
beginning only, Vinay Prabhuji.
No problem. I'll tell
Anna?
you.
The continuity
Sure.
will be there then.
Sure.
That'll be great. So, any other questions or comments, or should we stop here? So I guess we can stop. You all have a wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you very
Hare
much.
Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Jai
Thank
Shri
you